What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Wednesday night live stream in our Seriously Salty Science edition. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm good.
Excellent.
I'm great.
Wonderful.
Okay, I am extraordinary.
Extraordinary. Perfect. That's a whole new level.
One each other up now. How are you, Deb?
I am sad that I was not at Reefapalooza and you both were. So I'm vicariously living through you guys right now.
Sad you weren't there also.
How?
I cried a little
Oh,
tonight.
you're so sweet. So how was it? Fill me in.
Incredible. Every time I go, it's incredible. And I can tell you, I was thinking about not going. And my husband was like, absolutely not. You can't miss. Actually, I was on the phone with Owen. He's like, yeah, I get it. And then my husband's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, not going to Reefapalooza. And he's like, why wouldn't you go? And he's like, you're going. I was like, oh, okay. And like within being there for 20 minutes, I was like, I'm so glad I'm here.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. I really miss it.
So, I've never been to Orlando, but I officially completed the Reefapalooza Grand Slam because I've attended. Did I? Yeah. So, yes, New York, Orlando, Chicago, and California. Not in the same year, but still counts. So next year when I go back, I should be
different if it's the same year. I thought Grand Slam was same year. What would it be called if it's not in the same year?
The circuit.
I don't know.
You got the wrap circuit
The
down.
circuit.
So maybe I'll get a gold badge or a silver badge next year or something.
That's solid.
Worldwide Corals, we should make that happen. But it was my first time in Orlando,
that's a
and
good
it was
idea.
Nice.
It was a lot of fun.
Orlando has been my favorite wrap so far. That being said, I've been to New York and Orlando. I have not been to the Cali one yet, though. I'll have to do that one year. Go to Greg's neck of the hood.
One.
Yep. So next year. This year, sadly, I write off for shows, but next year, gonna make it happen. So,
Love the hotel.
yep.
I don't know if that's where we're going to start, but I love the hotel. The fact that it was suites,
Mm-hmm.
so you got a lot of room. Of course, I saw the amenities. I didn't get a chance. I was too busy talking, hanging out, eating, hanging out to even enjoy any of the amenities of the hotel. But it was good. I know a few friends that brought their families, and the families, when they weren't geeking around fish tank and coral and equipment, they had things to do. So it's a good show in that regard.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. It's such a good social thing too, right? To just geek out on reef stuff. That's a huge one for me. Like, I miss my reef buddies.
So last year I stayed in the villa instead of the hotel rooms. Me and my family and a friend shared it because it was cheaper to do a villa instead of 2 rooms. And the rooms are incredible. Like they're sweet. We could have stayed in the suite without a problem last year. I didn't realize there's 2 different rooms. They're like I forget what the inns are called that are like that, but they're like really high end. There's fridges, there's microwaves. I had 2 queens, and then the couch is like an L-shaped couch, and which I've never seen in a hotel room, and it folds out into a bed.
And it has a desk, a desk area for you to work. So if you have a single, I don't think they have anything less than a queen. So the queen, single queen, double queen, king, it's the exact same room. It's just the bed that's in it.
Wait. What this? Okay, not even related. What the heck's the difference in a single and a double queen? Oh, like 2 queens.
I have no idea.
2 queen beds.
Just
Okay,
one
yeah.
bed,
Okay.
one bed versus 2 beds.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so
I thought it was either 2 queens or a king. I didn't realize there was
2 queens side by side, like a
Okay.
double queen, extra spacious.
Maybe I made that up.
You probably did. Okay, so I am curious. What is your
and
favorite?
there's a pool.
Yeah, some of the comments are
Sorry.
like the pool looked amazing, but we never set foot in it. Yeah, you got to
Never
enjoy
set
the
foot
good
in it.
stuff when you're
Walk
there.
around a lot.
Yeah. So what was your favorite part, or what was like the coolest thing you saw at the show?
Ooh, I don't know if Brandy. The coolest thing I saw at the show was not actually at the show.
Do you tell?
I think it's okay.
It was me.
Of course.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna break it down with coolest thing. So there's cool people, there's cool equipment, and then there's cool coral.
Okay.
So
all three.
Let's start with the cool coral.
Okay.
Definitely some stuff at Worldwide Corals where I don't even know where to begin. That chalice. I think I put it in our group chat today.
It's actually it was one of the slices of the thumbnails. I think it's the third one. Image over. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, like I don't know.
We were all freaking out over it.
Huh. Was it crazy expensive? It looks really pretty. The colors are crazy on it.
They wouldn't tell us the price. It's not for sale currently.
So
it's
that means
in the not for sale tank.
This is show it off until it grows out. Dang.
I think it's in the tank that's like Vic's favorites. So I'm not sure what their plan is for it, but I think it's going to be a while before anybody gets their hands on it. That's for sure.
Probably. It looked pretty awesome.
So when I saw Josh the next day, I mentioned it to him, like his eyes lit up. So when the amount of coral he is seeing, the fact that his eyes lit up when I showed him the photo, he's like, yeah, that's a good one. You know, it's something unique and rare. It was a good one. So yeah, that was it.
Well,
for
who
coral
was
for me.
there? It was me, you, Kel, Greg, Carroll, who's seen everything.
There were a lot of people. I don't remember because I saw the photo today.
There
that
it
you
is.
posted today.
Smart
Yeah. So quick peek at what that one is. It looks super crazy, just the different colors on it.
Rob was there.
And by the way,
There was
Dev,
2 or
that
3
is
people I had never met.
That was a slight yellow filter. So I took that photo with my iPhone. No, with Brandy's iPhone with a slight yellow filter. So that's not like someone editing the photo with like a and I took a video, and the video and the
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like lime
everybody
green to
walked in there.
pink to blue. Like, it looks super cool.
We all stopped. Yeah. Every one of us, without a filter, without glasses on, go, what the heck is that?
They probably had so many offers, everybody there that day. It's like, nope.
Yep.
So is that
I think something else that was really cool coral-wise there was they had I think Greg was the first one to post a picture of it. It was a torch that was, what colors was it? Half gold, half green or something?
Oh, that's cool.
And I thought maybe it was 2 heads, and they're like, nope. I was like, was it what's it called when you cut them in half and put them together?
Graft them together? Grafted.
Yeah. And they're like, no, it was growing wild like that. And I was just like,
Oh, wow.
everybody was freaking out over that.
Was that in the picture, the one with a bunch of torches that you sent me?
It was by itself.
Okay.
I can send it to you if I didn't.
All right.
New York Knicks. You know what, man? That New York Knicks. I'm a Knicks fan, and when you guys say New York Knicks torch, it does not look like the New York Knicks color. So, but it was what people call a New York Knicks torch, I think. Then on one side, you had like a green, like a super toxic green with like blue tips. And I think so today when I was pinching and zooming into the photo, but then the polyps in the middle were like literally half and half down the middle. They were like half gold. So I don't know if someone fused it and then they had a baby, which was exactly half in the middle. It was nuts.
I asked all those questions, and they said it was growing like that. Like, it wasn't grafted, was never grafted.
That is crazy looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Huh.
Oh,
And of course,
that's
it's
a good
my
shot.
photography with that one. I took that picture, so it's not as good as if O had taken it. I don't know how I could hand everybody my phone, and they would take, like, a picture that was 7,000 times better than what I would do in the exact same position with the exact...
That's super cool. That's half and half in, like, one single head. That's crazy. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So people are saying about a $30,000 fish there. What was this crazy fish?
What was there was a $30,000 fish there?
I
Apparently.
didn't see that.
Apparently we missed this.
One of the things that I realize every single wrap is I make an effort to make sure I see everything.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what, I feel like I still miss like half the things.
Yeah, probably. Like, even like when I go to shows, like I've noticed that apparently it was a cold hang. But yeah, same thing. Like, even if you go all day one day, you come back the next day and you're still finding new things, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think that one of the problems is also not a problem because it's great. My favorite part about the shows is people, but it's almost like I need an extra day with nobody there just to walk around because I stop and talk to everybody.
Yeah. So, okay, there's been 20 corrections in the chat. It was a koi tang. So those are usually the ones that have the crazy patchiness on them. And crazy funky patterns.
When I saw the cold tang, I was thinking they must have meant koi tang.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I know that there was quite a few reef or fish booths, and I normally don't see fish booths.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even stop to look.
Oh, I stopped. Worldwide Corals had a fish booth, and they
that's
had
right.
a tang. It was so I'm not a fan of Scopus tangs because to me they just look like I've had a gem tang. I have a gem tang. I've had yellow tangs. I've had purple tangs. So to me, Scopus is. I always think of that, but they had a Scopus tang that was so unique, and I was like, if that thing is here, I am gonna call you guys and get it. And I walked by the booth eyeing the fish. I was like, nobody better buy you. So I need to call. They said, hey, let me not even say it's an ugly fish, but I like it because I'm not saying it here for somebody. But anyway, I got it. I'm not telling you anymore, but it was a nice ugly fish.
Did you get it already?
It's sold.
What, was it the
Anybody
30K
book it,
fish
it's
and then you saw
sold.
the price?
Don't call
What?
Worldwide Corals. Don't call Carlos. Don't look for the fish. Don't ask for anyone. It's sold. But it was a nice fish. But yes, Worldwide Corals had a fish booth only, which was really unique. They had 2 booths, and one they only dealt with fish.
They had 3 booths.
Oh, they had 3. Oh,
Crazy.
one was a service. Yes.
Alex was doing the service one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
They have good. I'm sorry, it's not like a worldwide. Kind of is a worldwide Corals Love Fest, but
Brad
it's
just
just
like, yes.
got good people
Yeah,
working there, don't they? Like everyone who I've met, and people make it sound like hey, like I'm nobody, by the way, just but make it sound like
Reefing was
I
fun.
go there and get a tour. But the first time I went to Orlando, I did not know anybody there, and Carlos, who I now know, but I met him that day. He was like, "Hey, man, you guys want a tour?" He didn't know me. He didn't know who I was. In fact, it was my wife. He invited us. Hey, you guys want a tour? So that's before they even built the new store. So it's not like they're doing it for me. That's just who they are.
Ah, yeah, that's super cool. Oh, Greg just sent me a video of that torch.
Yeah, Greg's video is probably way better.
Oh, look at that.
Isn't that crazy? Thanks for that, Greg.
Did you not see it?
Oh my gosh, wait a second. Did Greg? They must have turned on the daylight for Greg because the gold part had blue polyps too.
Yeah.
You were standing right there.
No, I took your video of it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I see now? Greg got them to do the coral viewer.
Yeah, he has
That's
the
why
water boxing
I
in there.
didn't.
Yeah.
Still,
Cool.
look at that, beautiful. Oh, thanks for that, Greg.
Yeah.
Such a nice torch.
One of the things I was saying this earlier, I definitely am a fangirl of certain companies, but it's typically boils out of me liking the people at the companies, right? Like if I think they're good people, then I'm gonna like cheer for them. And I have never been into that store where they didn't treat people like family. Like they have always been incredibly kind and gracious and excited to see me. And I didn't think, like the first time I went, I didn't think there would be any way they knew who I was. But from the live sales, they were like, "Brandy, of course we know you," which just makes you feel less awkward, right? Like
You feel loved.
yeah.
No,
So
that's,
it's a good feeling.
it is a good feeling. So, okay, so that torch is probably one of the showstoppers, it seems, for the show.
Oh, that wasn't at the show. That was
Oh.
at WWC. Sorry.
That's
If
funny.
we didn't.
Okay.
They came in Friday afternoon.
Reef with me. Can you ask them what their favorite moment was, and do they have plans on coming out to Wrap California?
Moment.
Best part of
You know
the
what?
day of the weekend.
There were so many good moments, but
Yeah.
definitely talking to Than, but I've met Than before.
Yeah.
But Devin and
Yes.
Greg and I promised we're going to throw this at you.
Yes.
Frag box. Like, we had a few Canadians there.
Heck
They
yeah.
were there. Yeah, so no, it's not good for you. Like, you should have been there. It would have been like the.
I have a different excuse.
But that
I
guy
have
from
my own frag
Box,
on the way. That's the only reason. Okay. Yes.
The Fragbox YouTube channel, he was there, and he's the same guy on camera.
Yeah.
When I met him, I was like, you and Brandy should be good friends, because he's like, he starts talking about something and he shifts to something else, and he's like, I'm like, oh.
It sounds
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
would never finish a conversation.
I did a store tour a few years back when I actually went to their store in Toronto. Super nice guy.
He remembered you. I said,
Yeah.
Devin from ReefDudes, and he was like, he's on the West Coast. I was like, yeah, he's in Kelowna. He's like, oh yeah, he came to the store.
Yeah.
I just like to sound like I knew where you were. I was like, yeah, where they snowboard? And he's like, he probably thinks like, yeah,
The
you
place
know,
with the
Devin,
mountains
you
and
know.
the snow in the winter. That's the one. Yeah, that was awesome. It's like, I'm actually dying in a long sleeve shirt now. It's super sunny out now. Summer's arrived. Now,
I think my favorite moment was likely meeting Pepe Necker.
who is Pepe Necker? I do not know Pepe.
I didn't know who he was either. But he's funny, and he taught me a ton of Spanish words.
Yeah.
So first of all, he's got the biggest Spanish reef channel, YouTube channel.
What's his channel? I think I might know who he is.
Yeah, I
Now
think
you
it's
mention
like just under 200,000, I think.
Oh, wow.
Subscribers.
Dang. Mm-hmm. That's solid.
So he was teaching me, hey Carlos, hey Cody. He was teaching me a bunch of Spanish words. So I was going around and saying them to I'll keep him off this, because every time I said one of the words that he taught me, people would be like,
Putting your Duolingo to use.
yeah. So, but not words you find on Duolingo. Every one of them was cuss words. And it was absolutely hilarious.
That's awesome.
So meeting him was really, really cool. And hearing his story, he lives in Mexico City, and he wants to move here to the U.S. And Vic has just been absolutely incredible to him at Worldwide Coral. And if you don't know who he is, you should definitely go check him out.
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
what's his, how do you spell it?
Everybody's
It's in the chat.
Oh,
Pepenecker.
There.
PP Necker.
I googled it. I'll watch some of his videos later.
They're fully Spanish. So I'm gonna start watching them all also with the subtitles, because
Yeah.
I'm sure many of you guys don't know, but both me and Dev are learning Spanish.
Yeah, we are.
And so watching Spanish content that's reef related is probably the most appropriate reason I'm learning Spanish.
That's
first
actually
place.
a good way to do it. I like how you think.
And
Excellent.
he has like 200 and something videos.
Oh, wicked. That's awesome. All
Yeah.
right. Now, next question that I'm curious about, at the show, hardware-wise or gear-wise, was there anything like new and super cool that you haven't seen before?
Yes.
Do tell.
The first thing that stopped me in my tracks, because I wasn't expecting it, was the GHL booth had a bunch of new stuff, which I did a video on, and they're like, "You're the first one who's made a video." So I had no idea that that was going to happen. And they had the updated.
I saw
what's-
their maxi style pump, the two big ones that was continuous use. I think I saw your Instagram live or your Instagram video on that one.
Yep. So that one was just a that was their prototype. That's the only one that exists currently.
Nice.
And it can run 24/7, which is kind of awesome. And one of the things that I like about that is the ability to control salinity. The GHL conductivity probe is pretty accurate in my opinion.
That's actually one of the better salinity probes I've used for sure. They did a good job. Yeah, that was a really cool feature. So you could literally have it, add more salt or add more RO based on your salinity, which is kind of cool actually.
Yeah, so I'm going to set mine up so my salinity is like dead on. Oh, space.
I have
and
had issues from my salinity drifting over time and me correcting it too fast. So that's a pretty cool feature if it keeps it in check. I like that.
Yeah, I agree. And then they partnered with CJ, and I'm like, CJ's just like killing it. It's impressive. So they partnered with someone said they copied CJ, and I'm like, it says on it that it's CJ. Like, it's not a copy, it's a partnership. So it's
Greg says, don't skip over it looks like a couple of Versas. I'm like, inspired by?
It does. It does
it?
a little bit.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool though.
Well, I'm assuming that there's like certain pump parts that they use that like is just a standard pump part, that it's the electronics that really is what the difference is, but I might be wrong.
There's only a few, and I think there's only a few not dosing pumps. But in terms of, there's only a few pump manufacturers in the world. So I have no issue with the CJ. Would you want to spend time developing a pump, not a dosing pump, but developing like a flow pump or return pump? Or would you partner with someone or license it, someone who's done pumps for years?
Well, that's
gives you a 5-year warranty. They just change the status, so the status goes into the controller.
That's what most people do.
But that is true.
Yeah.
The dosing, that's the flow pumps or the return pumps.
Yeah.
I agree. But I do agree also that the pump looks identical to the drive mechanism looks very similar to the Versa. And the only reason that's funny is because the previous heads on the Maxi look identical
like
to
the dose. Yeah.
So that's why that
That's
looks...
because all of those came. I thought the heads anyway came from
Kamar.
an AliExpress company. Am I?
Well,
okay.
I don't.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
They very well could be built by Kamor because they have very similar heads from Kamor. And I have seen some posts where people actually, I think, popped a Kamor head on it, so it's likely they are. And Kamor's massive company for doing dosing pumps and stuff, so wouldn't surprise me. I know Greg was saying Versus built from the ground up. Yeah, that one they actually did build in-house. I have no idea on the GHL one, but no, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
equipment-wise, that was cool.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
The Ion Director, supposedly that's actually out now?
It was out last Orlando.
Well, there was a demo one, but is it
working?
But Robert, one of my Patreons, actually, he said he ordered one finally, and he should have it in a few days. So I haven't actually seen anybody with one. I've only seen one at shows. So
I ordered mine in like August or September, so hopefully mine will be here before long.
Yep.
I'm really excited.
Could be good. Let me know who it is. I'm super curious because I haven't actually seen people with it yet, just at events. So.
That's true. I really like the Red Sea Reef mat, Dev. I'm using a Clarity now.
Yep.
And I was really intrigued by the Red Sea Reef mat. It's much easier to disassemble and clean than the Clarity.
Nice.
The roller mat?
Yes. Much easier to change the filter roll. Like I have to... So I know the Clarity has the mechanism where you can slide the roll off. Doesn't ever work for me. I need to take a razor blade and slice into it, especially now with the roll, especially the extra roll, it gets really big.
Mm-hmm.
But the Red Sea, you can disassemble the entire thing. Like it's bigger, takes up more space.
Yep.
But cleaning is, and then because you have the app, it connects to the app to the cloud and tell you how much roll you have left. It has some smart features that makes it really
cool.
intriguing.
That's pretty cool. Easier to change is a plus. With the Clarity, do you have the little tool to like push the roll off? I know it comes with the Gen 2s. I don't think the original ones came with it. So it depends when you're...
Maybe I just didn't... You know what, Dev? I remember us having this conversation before. And I think my answer the same was, I don't know if I know what that tool... Probably have the tool and didn't know what it is.
When I find it, I'll take a picture of it and I'll show you, okay?
Yeah. And I think you probably did already because, like I said, I remember I'm having deja vu. where we had this exact conversation. I'm pretty sure if I look at a text message or WhatsApp from you, it's probably there. But
Awesome. Bruno, thanks for the 250 super chat. Office is fire. Thank you, sir. Have you guys seen the new Hannas? Was there any new Hanna checkers there? I know they had their like multi-tester thing I saw got released a few months back.
It's funny because I stopped and talked to them for a while, and I know that they told me the new ones that are coming out, but he said that in a whisper, so I'm not sure if that's like publicly announced yet.
They're gonna have them. I think they're making them, and like everyone else, it's a chip shortage. But he did say they're going to be cloud connected, Wi-Fi something. So the next round, I don't think the product itself. You're talking about the one where you can do every test in one device, right?
That was my guess. That's the latest one I know of, but there could be something new.
Yeah. So I hope I'm not leaking. Brandy, you don't have to get in trouble. I will get in trouble with Kevin. He emails
someone
me
said
all
it in
the
the
time.
chat, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got an email from Kevin. So Kevin from Anna, he's the most annoying guy. He emails everyone. But he said they're working on getting more testing into the same device, and it's going to be cloud. So I don't know if those two things, but he told me that within a few weeks or months, or by New York, which is June, by Reefapalooza, New York, they should have them on sale. So
all right, saltwater aquarium just said they're on my website. Very first thing on the banner, there's a magnesium and an ammonia checker. So apparently those are the new ones because they say pre-order now. Yep.
There you go.
Magnesium and ammonia.
I don't know why he whispered it to me then.
Maybe it was like a day early. Yeah.
By the way, let me say, saltwater aquarium.
Thanks, buddy. Much appreciated.
Cool people.
I agree.
At the show. What was his name who was sitting beside us eating dinner?
Ken is the owner, and Greg was the one that was right next to you. The coolest name ever, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Ken's awesome.
We were singing, what was it, California Love? And
he busted it all the way down.
Word for word. We were in a nice fancy restaurant, and all of a sudden there's this table singing California Love. And then he's singing it word for word, rapping everything word for word. And I'm like, go, man.
Yeah. Now, that was a good song. Okay, now quick question. What if you mentioned Bluetooth to your phone? Do the new ones do that? If not, they should, because that'd be a wicked. If they have an app that tracks it when you do a test, and it just like sends it to an app and it's all logged in there, and you have to write it down, track it. If they don't have that, they should have that.
They're working on some stuff, Dev, and I think there's going to be like API. Again, I hope I'm not leaking anything, but there is going to be cool stuff come. I loved everything I was hearing, so yep, there's going to be cool stuff.
No, that's wicked. Same as the elk checker, one with the extra liquid. Okay, so
the only thing I can think of like that's equivalent is it's not really the same thing, but like the a lot of the controllers and monitors, the Wi-Fi connection, so you can open up on your phone. But I mean, it seems like it should be pretty easy to do a Bluetooth connection because my bathroom scale has a Bluetooth connection that sends my weight every day to my phone.
Yeah,
and it was like a $30 scale, so that seems like that should be a thing.
Yeah,
it probably will be coming.
You know what? I'm sorry, Dev. I buried the lead. Maybe it's because I'm so into the hydros, but they had a cool booth.
Yep.
Connor, who's the guy who was manning that guy knows hydros. Like, he was teaching me stuff about the hydros that I didn't know. They had an awesome booth with all their devices on display, including, I don't think it's available retail yet, but they have a 1/4-inch flow sensor. And I think they're going to have 3/4 and 1 inch shipping soon. But they had a cool demo with like a full, 3-foot-high touch display or something?
Yeah.
You know, it's so bad because I went by their booth and I was talking and goofing off with them, but I never actually looked at the stuff. Like, one of these days, whenever I go to these shows, I won't be so like excited to see people. I mean, that's a lie. I'll always be excited to see people, but
the second
one
day,
of these days, I'll do a better job of actually looking at what's there.
Well, that's what day 2 is for. After the first day of a bazillion hellos and all the social, I mean, you still have the next day, but then there's a little more time to actually like look at things. You're like, nope, still socializing.
Like, there were so many people that were like, I never saw you, and I'm like, I never left.
But that's what I was thinking, exactly what you were thinking, Dev. But then there's different attendees to the
True.
show on Tuesday. So some people come for one day,
And on
and
Saturday.
then on then on the second day, there's a lot of overlap, but there's
True.
a completely different set of attendees. So
Fair point.
yeah, the hydros booth was really cool. Like I came home with like my hydros completely reconfigured. Like Connor I'm like, wait, dude, you got to slow down. Like I don't know what you just did.
Connor
And
was
he's like,
really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed meeting him.
I saw one of Greg's photos where it was like, I don't know if it was Panery, but it was some like ridiculously big pump in the background. I think it was Greg's photo. I was like, you need
That
a bigger
was
tank.
The Abyss pump? Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Abyss.
Massive.
Like I was trying to wrap my head around, like, what kind of tank that was designed for.
A
Greg's
big
like,
one.
I would not put it in a 6-foot tank.
No. Like, look in the background. That is a massive pump.
Like it's like it was like my shoulder
Yeah. It's like,
distance.
yeah, it is huge.
That is not for us, but I went to SeaWorld last year, and SeaWorld were using Panta Ray pumps, and Worldwide Corals in that 1200 lagoon. I think they're using that 2000 whatever that size tank is at the back of the store.
Yeah.
They're using these huge Panta Ray pumps, so it's expensive. It's not for us regular humans.
No,
it's for
but even the
aquarium.
one they had was like this. So
Not
like
us plebs.
the one that looked like in the background was like double the one I remember seeing the bottom of the worldwide tank.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me a second. Like I was actually, after we left, we were actually driving to dinner, and I was like trying to wrap my head around what I had seen.
Mhm.
And Greg's like, basically, it's a jet engine. I'm like, yeah, like, and they had told me the gallons per hour, and I was like, but like,
You're like, airplane parts. Aren't we at a reefing show?
Yeah, I remember us talking about it, and you know how sometimes you'll have a pump and it's like, oh, it turns over your aquarium like 10 times an hour. I was
10,000
thinking, like,
times
oh,
per
that'll
hour.
turn over my aquarium 10,000 times an hour. So it was
Yeah,
some ridiculous
yeah.
number.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
14,000 gallons per hour.
14,000. That's what I was thinking.
That's pretty
I was
solid.
thinking they said 14,000.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah, maybe I'll just get it and run it on 1%, you know?
future expansion, right? You know, room to grow. So okay, so what was else for either something cool and new or something you haven't seen before? Was there any other cool new gear from any of the companies?
I mean, I think when me and Kel were, I think it was me and Kel, we were walking by the Red Sea booth when they were unpacking on Friday, and both of us stopped and go, oh, because just the new tank, that new series that they came out with, just, it looks really good, and the way they've reconfigured it is really nice.
Nice.
eShops had a bunch of new things.
Nice.
The small tanks, those little nano tank packages, a few companies had those. Those are cool. That's going to be a thing now. I
Are
think
those?
that's a thing.
I've seen
I
like
think nano tanks are no longer scary. They're no longer like stay away from a nano because the water volume is small. Yeah, eShops had like an all-in-one. eShops make a lot of stuff for small tanks. And I think they made a tank that uses all their stuff, which I think is smart.
yeah.
Well, they have the skimmer, the little miniature skimmer that actually like does bubbles instead of the wood block.
Yeah.
And it's more expensive than the actual tank itself, and the tank comes with the light and everything. And I think it's 3.8 gallons.
Okay. It's not bad size.
And it
There
was
a
adorable.
3-gallon, there was a 7-gallon, there was a 1-point-something gallon. There were so many great nano tanks. Brandy, also the scrubber. I don't know if you're just hiding out on everyone.
So
Well, I was going to make the point about Lou had the tiny eShops one on his desk on Monday. He had just set it up, so that was kind of cool. Yes, the scrubber has a brand new design, the Clearwater scrubber.
so what's new with it? What changed? Because I have the older one, so fill me in on the new one.
It's so instead of that like big bulky plumbing that's off the side,
Yep.
that it's got this like, I'll have it Friday. Francois was nice enough to, I flew there, so Francois was nice enough to bring it back home from Orlando, and he'll be up here Friday, so I don't have it yet, otherwise I'd
Nice.
show it to you. Hey Francois! Hopefully you bring it to me Friday, Francois, because I just promised everybody. And so it's got this like really slim side
Yeah.
that it's like a T that that the water comes up and fills.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes up like fills this skinnier thing, and then it gets bigger, and then there's this entire slot that the water comes out of, so it's less chance of it clogging.
Nice.
And it's like a smooth flow, like a smooth water flow. And there's this tray that the screen sits in now. Wish I had pictures. I took a
Actually, you did send one.
I got a video.
Did I?
I interviewed.
Yeah, I got one here.
Yeah.
I have the video. But
So it basically removed all the big bulky plumbing that was on the side. Oh, that is way sleeker.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then on
that's
the
cool.
top, though, there's this tray instead of that bar that used to be there.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple things that needed to be that need to be changed. Right now, the tray has got clear sides, so that's going to be changed to black.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be any algae that grows on the top of the tray.
That's cool.
So there shouldn't be any clogs there. And then the drain comes straight out of the bottom, and it's a 1.5-inch bulkhead.
Yeah.
So even if it so happens to clog with
That's
algae
huge.
there, before it could overflow out the top, just the weight of the water would push the rest of it out.
Wow, that's cool. That's a much more streamlined
It's
design.
not
That's
available
cool.
yet, Aaron.
Oh,
that was the very first prototype. So there's still a few things that need to be changed. The lights don't have the screws anymore. They have like these brackets that it just slides into.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
much
the
more
power
sleek.
supplies will
Yeah.
eventually come out of the brackets and have like a water thing, so that'll make it safer being around the water.
Nice. Huh.
There's some
I
other
like it.
things that I'm blanking.
Yeah, it's just a much like one of the reasons I don't want to plumb anything for a clear water scrubber. Like, I'm just honest. I've said that to you. Like, I just don't want to plumb anything. But this one is really intriguing. Where you can just set it over your sump. I'm hoping with today's day where if you have a big enough opening in my sump where maybe we'll eventually get brackets made. Someone will 3D print a bracket for you to just put it over your sump that's adjustable or something. And you just sit it there and then the C-shape pump goes right into,
Right below it.
right into the pump. Yeah, so I
think Josh might be trying to figure something like that out, but I'm not sure if that's a secret.
Okay, so I
Looks like
said
it's
1 inch drain, and it sounds like right to say it. Pre-order target is Wrap NY, so it's coming up.
Oh yeah, it's not a secret. Josh says there's going to be brackets that's
For sale
gonna
with
be
it.
for sale with it. So
Perfect.
he's. I know we've talked about it a few times. He's got an
It's not a secret.
idea to have something to just let it sit on top of the sump.
Well, it's not a secret anymore because we told everybody. But yeah, no, that looks pretty sweet. Like
not we, Brandy.
the
And
cat's
he's
out
gonna
of the
have a whole
bag.
booth in New York with all the scrubbers
Nice.
and some other products he's working on. I don't know how big of a. It's not a secret. He said I didn't spill the beans on anything. So there you go.
Going into Toronto next week to get it done. I know who you're going to go see. Well, that's awesome. Yep. Say hi to Kyle for me. Oh, that's awesome. That's a way.
So
I like
was
that.
Really exciting.
Mm-hmm. Comes with
Well,
a.
it can come with a C-shape pump, or you can buy it without. And the C-shape pump that he's doing with it is one of the adjustable ones, so you don't need a gate valve or anything. You can just adjust the pump, and it works for the same pump works for all the scrubbers, which is awesome.
Oh, sweet. I like that. Nice work, Josh. I like that new design. Looks really good.
I went from not interested in a scrubber at all, in a clear water scrubber, to being really intrigued. And then when he's telling about like the other things, like there's gonna be a little hook there where, because one of the things I'm like, I got big, giant hands. I'm very clumsy with my hands. How do I get that little thing out? And he's like, oh, there's gonna be like a hook there where you just or something to grab and you lift the screen out. I'm like, oh, okay. And he also explained something. Because I was looking at a different model that was drop-in, and he said, when you're using an algae scrubber, the type of algae that you grow in an algae scrubber, if it's submerged, it doesn't grow the algae, which I didn't think so. The screen is submerged, that type of algae. So when you're using I could be. Let me know if I'm wrong. There.
We'll keep you honest.
When you're using a refugium, like the Chaeto or Callirpa, needs to be submerged.
Yep.
But the type of algae that you're growing in an algae scrubber, it needs atmospheric CO2 in order to grow. So when the screen is a little bit submerged, you don't get that same type of algae growth. I think that's what Josh said, or I hope I'm not butchering it. So the fact that the thing is elevated and above, you get like maximum growth.
Yeah. So I don't 100% know about the submerged, not submerged, but it is more of a hair algae, which grows much quicker than Chaeto, right? Because it's more of a simpler algae. But you still have that sheet of water over top of it. So it is mostly submerged. But yeah, because of the waterfall design, you will have more air, CO2, oxygen interaction with it. But yeah, no, I think...
I will say in the past when I've grown hair algae, in my sump, it's been on the weirs, right? Where it's waterfalling anyway.
Yeah.
And it just like has made like these giant things.
Like it can grow in other places, but it seems to prefer that type of atmosphere.
Yeah.
So the waterfall. But yeah, no, that looks pretty sweet. I like it.
Yeah. There was something else that I was thinking about, and I'm blanking on what the... There was a skimmer. Is it a skimmer that had the roller mat in it?
Inside of the skimmer?
I didn't see that. I heard you guys talking about that.
Yeah, so I didn't actually see it. I saw that someone was looking at it, and the booth was like complete, like I couldn't see the booth, and so I didn't want to like move people out of the way, and I never came back to look at it. So Simply Reef saw it. What was it, Dre? It's just a skimmer with a roller mat on it, I think, so that it like you didn't have a cup. It was just constantly cleaning the skim, which is kind of interesting. I wish I had realized that it was like something kind of really different, because I probably would have pushed people aside.
Okay, saltwater aquarium. There was a new skimmer design where the matte fabric is the collection cup. Interesting. Huh. The roller mat removed the skim aid. So it's basically a roller mat that sucks out the skim aid for you. Interesting. Huh. That's crazy. I've never seen that design before.
Yeah. Doesn't sound as gross as a cup either. So I really wish I had just been like, let me get in here.
Yeah. Roller mat there's also a roller mat with a turf scrubber, I think I saw in some videos. Huh. Interesting. It's crazy.
I didn't see that one.
I don't know.
I think I heard someone talking about it, but I didn't know if that was in the show or if that was something that someone had seen.
That's
Super
cool.
thin, small footprint. Yeah, it's interesting, right?
Yeah, that is. Saltwater Aquarium is also saying there is Red Sea Reefer G2 tanks, which I have.
Yeah, that's what I meant whenever I walked by the Red Sea. I think it was with Kel, and we both stopped. It was one that we're setting up on Friday, and we're like, ooh, and they're like, what? And we're like, the new tank.
Oh, there was a new tank? Jeez, I was so focused on the roller mat because I was looking at the roller mat. Okay, I got to go back and watch my video because I shot video.
That's what I was saying earlier.
All
like
those tanks.
The way they, the new like sump layout and everything's really cool.
I was so focused on the roller mat, I did not realize that the roller mat was on a new tank.
Yeah.
Wow. Total miss on my part.
I said, they were setting up whenever I saw it, and he stopped and talked to me for a few minutes. He's like, sorry, I need to finish setting up. I was like, no worries. I get there just enough time to distract everybody while they're setting up.
We saw the K tanks too, because I think Kessel was running.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that had. I'm really intrigued with the side panels can come off, and it has a little power center there. So yeah, I was. It was at the Kessel booth. Yes.
Nice. Yeah. So Ken was saying new plumbing and filter roller ready are two notable things, which is kind of cool.
Because right now, I have a Red Sea, and right now, if you want to do the roller mat, you have to actually cut out one of the glass panels. Yeah. Let's see.
So in their video, it looks like the filter socks they can slide out of the way, and presumably, and a baffle slides out, and of course the Red Sea roller mat fits in perfectly. Nice.
So the Cubs already did that, but they're too small right now for a roller mat to fit in. You have to like cut the glass. So
it's nice when you don't have to break things.
I just remembered one thing about the roller mat, Dev.
Yeah.
because you don't have an instance where you have two tanks plumbed together. I think you got rid of that. So the roller mat, you know how the Clarisea has the opening on one side?
Yeah.
You can actually connect two tanks to one roller mat. Because the way I did ask, and they say, yeah, you just remove the, the Clarisea has one end that you close, the pipe, when you put the pipe in the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah, that has the Red Sea, you can actually open both sides and put two tanks.
Two pipes into it. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
One thing that I thought was really interesting not interesting, but like I was kind of blown away by was how many acanthophylias were there.
Yeah.
Like there had to have been a couple hundred acanthophyllias between all the different coral booths. Like,
is that the newest thing now? I was shocked. And there were some good, like some of them were expensive and some of them were nice. But who was at the farm with us? What's his name? He came with his wife. And we also met him in Chicago.
His girlfriend.
Yes.
Now, just in general, how are all the coral pricing? Like, do you feel like it's a little more expensive now with like the shipping and pandemic issues and all that jazz, or is it like fairly status quo?
I think the really nice high-end stuff. So the really nice high-end stuff is always going to be expensive.
Yeah.
But I feel like Florida and California, y'all get better deals and nicer stuff than we do in New York. New York, where prices are higher. So to me, when I went to, let me check if my wife is listening, but when I went to Worldwide Corals before I went to the show, like I always go nuts.
Yeah.
When I went to California, I went nuts because well, if you're in Florida, you go to you see nice stuff. Yeah, it's pricey, but I don't know. When I'm comparing it to me, when I go to Worldwide Corals, the store, it's not crazy expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not crazy expensive. It is not.
Okay.
I don't know how to. Can I do something to make that go away?
Yeah, I blocked it. You know what? Funny enough, man, that channel has been. I was watching a random YouTube stream today, and that same bot came up. I was watching soccer actually earlier, and that same bot. So it's just going all over YouTube.
So we're as popular as soccer.
Heck yeah. So one just quick throw out just because I saw in the chat. 2-in-1 algae scrubber filter. If that's the one, apparently Smarter Reefs is potentially the one. I just had quickly Googled it to see, which is a kind of a crazy design. So if anyone has one, I'm curious to know how it is. All right, sorry.
I think it's pretty big too, and it was also pretty pricey if I remember correctly from what I heard people talking about. So that's it's a roller mat with a scrubber, so it's two not cheap things anyway.
I'm curious to see the skimmer contraption version too. Yeah.
I wonder if it was the same company that had the skimmer with the roller mat.
Self-cleaning skimmer. Yep, totally was. Okay. So $500 US is basically a skimmer, but yeah, there's no cup. It's just like a roller mat at the top. So it must somehow trap it, and I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Someone says between $1,800 booth, plane tickets, hotels. I don't expect deals. They need to make a profit. That's true, but I find that there's good deals. Like you know what, Dev? I think we were talking we think we were talking in our chat pre-show, and I think I said I avoided corals. I think just because I knew I couldn't take anything home. Because after Reefapalooza, I went back to Tampa for a few days, so
now
I did my shopping.
What I did
before the show.
I gave what I just did was gave money to people and said, ship me stuff when you get home.
Here's $200. Send me some cool stuff later. So
yep, that because I haven't had any luck bringing stuff home myself.
I think everything Greg tried ended up dying.
Another pro tip: if people are at shows and you do want deals, and you say till the very end, you can get some sweet deals because a lot of the vendors don't necessarily want to haul coolers and coolers of coral back. So you should get some pretty sweet deals. But the problem is there's going to be less options, right? Because all like the fire is going to be cherry picked. But if you're not as picky, there's still nice stuff.
I saw multiple endophilias.
Yeah.
Like every other show I've been to, there may have been one, maybe two, maybe none at all. But there were like multiple vendors that had multiple endophilias. And I don't even know what endophilias go for, but a lot, several thousand. And I think like that was the kind of stuff you were getting, right? So it's kind of hard to be like the deals were good or not, because I think for some people, like, they see that price tag. It doesn't matter if it's $2,000 off what you would normally find. Like,
it's still
a $3,000 coral is that normally you'd pay $5,000 for, still a lot of money.
Yeah. No, for sure. And a lot of times it shows they're bringing their fire, right? They want to show off the best of what they got to.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody's taking pictures, and you know, for me, it's kind of also like getting to know the vendors and seeing how they treat their coral, what their corals look like, because sometimes what the websites look like isn't necessarily, like, I don't always trust that, right? So seeing which ones had like just amazing looking coral without, like, just to my eye, right? That goes a long way to me.
Yeah, so true. And being able to see it in person is huge, right? Like, you're like, that's what I'm getting. It's not some picture. You're like, is it Photoshop? Did they tweak it? Did they improve it? You know,
how tweaked is it? Yeah.
Yeah, like
like, even what was that Ghani? There was a Ghani at Broadway Coral, like in their sump, that I was trying to take a picture of, and it was incredible. And no matter what filter I used or like what I did, or like editing the picture, I could not get it the same color pink. And there was like 3 people there trying to get it the same color pink that it was in real life, and it just, my phone did not like that color pink. So that's also part of it, right?
Yeah.
Another thing I like, which I don't know, there's other LFSs that probably do this, but when you see things at WWC, when you see frags, they'll tell you can go to the big tanks and you can see what it looks like.
That's cool.
So they grow it there. So yeah, so there was a grafted digi, and Carlos was like, "You want to see what it looks like in a colony? We have it in the."
You're like, yes, I do.
Back of the store, I don't remember.
Big.
Was it 2,000?
90,000.
All right, let's go with that. But he was like, "You want to see what it looks like?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I went there and I was like, "Okay."
Dive in it. They have to put in a wetsuit to clean it, so it's big.
Yeah.
The lagoon is looking amazing. But
I haven't seen it
what
since it was
else
new.
Equipment did I see? Did we see?
Yeah.
Saw everything. I'm always amazed by the rock. Like Caribsea was there with rock, and they weren't necessarily selling rock direct, but they had examples of what you can do with it. And I'm just amazed with what the examples or what they built. I don't care what people say. It doesn't look like a natural reef. I'm just see the creativity that people do with, with rock these days.
You know what rock I think is just the coolest is the Aqua Rocher rock.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like, I just think. Have you seen that, Deb?
Yeah, my buddy has them in his tank. It's like towers, and you like plug and play the shelves, basically.
Is Francois still here?
It doesn't necessarily have to be shelves. It can be, they have shelves.
Yeah, the branches that go into
branches and different shaped branches, and they're pre-drilled with the carbon fiber rod, so you can like make it be as long as you want. I just think it's so smart. Like, I love a lot of encrusting coral, and I have a lot in my tank, and I've been wondering, like, when it starts to overgrow, what in the heck I'm going to do?
Pop it out, put in a new one, frag it off. Like,
I really wish I had Aqua Rocher in there, because then you can just take out the branch, sell the entire branch, and
it can regrow, or we can put on a new branch, basically. Yeah, no, it's...
Is Aqua Rocher for sale? Because I need some of that, because I have this really...
Only for Luxo, you're not allowed to have any.
That is going nuts.
For some reason, you cut in and out.
Oh, weird. All right, go.
What did you say?
Go for it, though.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I don't know how I would get it, but I need some of that rock. I have this crazy Zoa that's invasive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think that the aqua roche is absolutely super cool.
You know what?
The
Modular rock is actually a really good solution for like quote unquote invasive corals, right? The ones that take over everywhere. Because it just makes it easy to swap it out later. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Cut you off.
David said the P&W mini tanks that are like this big. Those
Okay.
are super cool.
Those are like the Coke size ones.
The what?
Are those the ones that are like the size of a Coke can? Yeah, they're super tiny.
Yeah. They're really cool.
Now, do you consider them a novelty, like just for fun? You throw it up for a while. Would you actually keep one long term as like a super miniature desk tank? Like realistically, you just give that thing like 100% water change every few days, and you're probably fine. But like, what is your thoughts? Like, would you actually do a tiny one long term and keep it going, or?
Oh, me
Well-
first? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I've tried like right here. I have an IKEA cabinet sitting, like a 12 by 10 IKEA cabinet, and I tried like a Ultim Nano tank with a hang on the back filter, and it was cool.
Yeah.
But I think I would like one of those little tanks because it's all self-contained, and because it's acrylic, it's not as heavy. I think they're acrylic, right?
Yeah. I'm looking at the website.
They're
right
not
now.
as heavy.
Yeah,
so I
they're-
think I can lift them. See, I would be more likely to take a risk with that because it's easy to transport. So imagine a kid in college, you need a reef tank, and sometimes they have limits. You need 10, 12 gallons. When you're coming home, you just bag up the livestock and you just drive home. When you come home, you set it up again so you don't put sand in it. But so I actually like them for that reason. I just remember Coral Fish 12G having like a nice acrylic tank, and he would take it home during the summer. So
Yeah.
I'm a big Dev. If I got one now, I would set it up right here because I think it would be easy to maintain. And just knowing that, hey, if it doesn't work out, I have everything is self-contained, would make me more likely to try it.
That's fair. That's one where I would literally just take like a scoop of water out of my big tank and dump it in the little one because it already has good parameters for like my water change, and you're done. Okay. Now, if you did a tiny tank, what would you put in it? Would it be zoas, rock flowers? Would you go crazy with the acros? Like, what would you put inside of it? Yeah.
Softies or LPS Duncans,
But you
easy stuff like that.
got to consider they would take up like half your tank. So
Put one species and grow a big giant Duncan.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Just Duncan tank.
Yeah.
Be all smushed up against the glass.
Yeah.
No, when it gets to
Mark
2 heads,
got
you just
something.
frag it.
Fair.
So I have this empty 15-gallon tank behind me. I don't know that I would do a small tank that small,
Yeah.
just because my reef keeping methods are not the best, and I
Like,
don't know that I'd be able to keep up with it. And we travel a lot, and that's not something that like I feel like would need to
you need
have
a
more maintenance.
you need a tiny ETO. I think like a handful of rock flowers and a bunch of sexy shrimp would be cool in a tiny tank like that. Because they're super low maintenance and they stay tiny.
Yeah, and Martha's is beautiful. They got two. One of them has. Doesn't one of them have like some dragon flame algae in it? I think.
Dragon's breath.
Dragon's breath. Thanks.
Yeah.
I tend to use the wrong name altogether a
That's
lot
fine.
of times. I'm glad you know what I mean.
I got you.
Yeah.
And NPS would
I
be
think
cool
they're really,
too.
really cool. I
'Cause
just
you-
don't think it's something I could handle.
Yeah.
But I think do you think Brandy, like I watched that video series on Jake Adams with his Nano where he puts a glass top so he has no evaporation.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even do a water change for a year. So you
Yeah.
think we're just, well, I know I look at just what's on the right side of my tank. And that's a 75 gallon. Like, do I keep things simple? No. I'm unapologetic about it. No.
Me neither.
So, no. So, is it for me? No. But I think it could work.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, the evaporation was particularly what I was thinking about. Like when I
Glass
go
top.
away for
Put a lid on it. Done.
multiple
Glass
weeks.
top.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What
Glass
evaporation?
top.
Yeah.
Hey, you can put it in the
Justin
car
said I
and
can just
put
take it with me.
Yeah, put it in the
that's what I
car.
was gonna say. Put it in the car and take it with you.
Seatbelt it in. This is your vacation
and it
tank.
fits in a 5-gallon bucket, and you run it on batteries with an air pump. So if it
It's
can
cool to do
sit,
that in an RV.
It would actually. Reefing on the road. On
Yeah. So
on a random serious note, that actually could be cool to have is like a travel tank. Like if you're driving to a reefing show, that could be sitting on your desk in the hotel, and you could put all of your loot inside of it. Like put a teeny frag rack in there, and it can hold all your corals. Like that could act.
whatever O is doing is making your sound cut out, Ev.
oh, I'm sorry, it's my fault.
Yeah, what a guy. But a legit cool use of my mind would be to have like that in your hotel room. You buy a bunch of frags, you put in your little tiny nano tank, and then they're probably happy for the couple days before you drive home.
That's actually, isn't that what John does when he brings the clams? He's like, hey, I got to bring them to the room, and he brings them to the raw room, and he has an air bubbler.
Yeah, it's just a fancier version.
I'm
But-
sorry, I was unboxing. I got a new toy, and I was unboxing. I'm sorry.
Well, you better show it off now after all the.
So it's not actually a new
I thought you were
toy.
eating
It's a
potato chips.
it's a variation on an old toy. So it is it's an Avast calc stir,
Ah.
but I got them to make me a shorter version. So I actually want the calc to be more potent. So I had them cut off. I forgot how many, but I think this is only a foot tall versus, I forgot what it is. So instead of, I'm not doing that whole calc slurry thing, but I would like the calc to be more potent by the time it comes out the top. So I just got the calc stir shorter.
Nice.
So the calc, yeah. So this was my, so all I did was hit up Avast Marine. They didn't charge me any extra. It's
Yeah.
you just have to wait a little bit longer. So it's just a calc stir, the Avast Marine calc stir, and it's just shorter. The old one would probably be 6 or 7 inches.
Yep.
Really cool.
Huh, very cool. Nice. I like it.
And can I just say, like on a completely side note, how much I totally enjoyed hanging out with Dan. Like he is hilarious
Yeah.
and
And his
incredibly
perfect toaster.
inappropriate in his humor and awkward and gross.
That sounds awesome.
And,
I'm slightly jealous I was
his-
not there.
His toast. He bought a toaster
Mhm.
that does the perfect toast. He's a man with a particular set of, I don't know. But Fan is cool. He was telling us about the toaster, and the toaster does the perfect toast. Like it toasts. He made me like I don't like toast, but Fan made me.
But you want
toast.
one.
I actually had toast for breakfast the next day, Fan, because you were telling me about toast.
You know
You're-
what he talked to me about? Flesh-eating bacteria.
And O gets the toaster. You're like, I don't like toast. And the next day, I bought a toaster for some reason. And Brandy's like, well, my flesh is still here.
Right. Yeah, it was so talking about the number of tanks, right?
Yeah.
So I did an interview at a store a couple of weeks ago called Pure Reef in Atlanta,
Mhm.
and he's been in the hobby for like 40 something years. And one of the things I asked him is, what piece of advice do you give people so that they don't get burnt out in the hobby? And he was like, take it slow and only have it one tank. I was like, oh, that's really good. But like, I was thinking, like, for me, having something like this to go to, it just like reinvigorates my excitement. Like I spent all day today rearranging my coral and
Mhm.
cleaning my tank and like doing all this stuff on my tank because of the show. And
Yeah.
I think meeting people like Dan, oh, of course, I've already known you. You're a great friend. Like all these people, like I saw Cuban Reefer, right? And he's like, oh, it's so nice to finally meet you. I was like, we haven't met? Because I talk to him all the time, right? And it, for me, like that's an integral component for me staying interested in reefing.
Yeah.
People thought we were crazy. Like if you're not
It might be,
one
but-
of
Well, we
the
kind of
cool,
are.
Yeah.
if you're not one of the not cool, I was going to say cool kids, but if you're an ordinary reefer, which we're not ordinary, but an ordinary reefer, like imagine you come up to the show and somebody's like, hey, my name is Omar and your name is O, and we start shaking as two ordinary people, two grown men, very manly, meeting each other, and then he's like, I'm the smoking reefer. I'm like, oh, and then there's like, oh, I know who you are, and then there's like, hey, brother, give me a pound, and you're like, ooh. So that's what it. So people looked at us as like, a second ago they were acting like they didn't know each other, and all of a sudden some weird name gets mentioned. I am John Paul 616, and then all of a sudden they're like long lost friends from another dimension who found each other. So I know people found that hilarious.
That's awesome. Okay, quick shout out,
Yeah.
Goldslinger. You're amazing. Thank you very much.
He's always so cool.
It is so true.
This is
It
You're
makes me
you're
blush.
amazing. I know, right? Oh, Rosie.
Um,
The the interesting slash funny thing is you talk to people online. Like you could talk to someone for years and all of a sudden you see them in real life and you feel like you're best friends already, right? Because you've been already interacting online for 2 years, right?
we've never met, Deb.
I know.
Like, I've never met you in real life, and I'm like,
What the heck?
that doesn't seem real.
Yeah, I almost don't believe it.
Crazy, right? Oh,
Wait, you guys have never met?
I don't know. I don't think so.
this is my first time talking to him.
Ever. No, like we've chatted on streams and stuff, but I don't know if we've met at a show. I don't think we have.
Nope.
Crazy.
My first show was Orlando last year. I was supposed to go to the wrap before that, but I think
Yeah.
it got canceled because of COVID.
Yes, yeah.
We had tickets and the motel room and everything, but yeah.
So I went to tons of shows up until then, and then I haven't really went to any since because of the world. So that's crazy. So there you go. Yeah, but like we would totally hang out and be like best friends, and it'd feel like we were friends forever, which is crazy. So
100%.
yeah.
Wow.
Something that I found was really interesting too. Do y'all know much about? I'm going to butcher his name. Trulio's wife. Is that how you say his name?
Tulio.
You Tulio from Reef Bright.
Yeah.
Tulio. Do you know much about his wife?
I don't know much about her, but I met her because we had dinner with them during Hurricane Orlando a couple years ago.
So, like, one of the things I try to do because of my personal experience, when my husband goes with me to the shows, people talk to him instead of me, which is why he doesn't come. And he'll be like, "It's not my hobby, it's hers." I don't
Well,
think
Matt
he
is
can do that
cooler.
now.
Just saying.
But huh?
Matt is cooler.
Matt's
Just
cooler?
saying. Yes.
It's true. He's really cool. but it's my hobby, right? And so, like, there's been times that the first show that we went to was the Atlanta Reef Club show, and there was someone there selling really nice sumps that I was considering buying, and my husband Matt kept telling them to talk to me, and my husband would step back and the guy would step closer to Matt, and after a few minutes he's like, "I'm not the customer, she is, and I'm pretty sure you just lost her." So I try to make an effort to talk to wives that are there. Do you know that his wife has been reefing significantly longer than he has?
Huh. Did not.
And right? Because
Yeah.
everybody was so excited to meet her. So I turned and was like, "So, like, how involved are you?" And she was like, "I've been doing."
You're like, "I'm teaching him how it works."
Knows.
That's awesome. Love
Yeah.
it. Love
Like,
it.
she was the very first person to start online sales for any kind of equipment. She set up Marine Depot's online website, like all this craziness, and I was just like, I'd love to just sit and pick her brain. I really enjoyed talking to her.
Huh. That's super
I
cool.
heard a similar story when I went to California, Greg's Reef Club. There was someone who was in Greg's Reef Club, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just here. Like, my wife is a reefer, you know." And he's like, I've just been reefing for a year. My wife is the one who's like," and I was like, But I'm glad to hear that. We need more women in the hobby. Diversity is good.
Well, I think there are more women in the hobby. We just don't tend to notice some. Like even Justin's wife, she enjoys reefing, but Justin's the one that is normally on these things. And Deb, you remember the girl that I introduced you to, whose husband grew up near where I grew up? I don't know if you remember.
What was the name?
Like, she came over and everybody started talking to her husband, and I was like, he doesn't reef. He doesn't know anything about it. Talk to her. So I think like sometimes we just like don't notice.
That's good. I can almost, well, not almost. A lot of times you can look at a tank and be like, I think it's had a woman's touch.
Okay. I have to dig into this. What would be your tipping point that says this is a woman's touch versus a guy's touch?
First of all, it's not geared up to the limbs.
Okay.
That's the first thing. And it's just
Have you seen my tank? I just broke your I broke your first idea.
Yes.
I love
nothing.
technology.
I don't know. I think it's just the way it's curated.
Okay.
I think the way, you know what? A lot of times it's not true for anything, but I don't know. It's just curated. It's just curated differently. But I'm gonna stop putting my foot in my mouth, and I'm gonna shut up now, and I'm gonna go on mute.
No, it's not your foot in your mouth. I was just pointing out that that's pattern in this group doesn't hold true. Though all of us like gear, so I think that's part of being a reefer for the most part.
It is. I'm a huge gear junkie. Like, I have way too much stuff in my tanks. I know that, but I'm techie. I work in IT. I like the gear. I that's like a hobby within the hobby in a weird way.
I agree.
Yeah.
Which is why I have GHL and an Apex system, and would have a Hydros as well if I could get my hands on one.
Yep.
You missed your opportunity. You missed your opportunity. You missed your opportunity. You missed your opportunity.
I'll talk to him again. I think something that might be different is, I think in general, I don't know if this is true for all female reefers, but I feel like I put more thought into the corals I buy. So I feel like my tank's still really empty because like my husband and a lot of people, right? I'll be like, I'm looking for a war paint scully, and people are like, here's one. Why aren't you getting them? I'm like, it's not exactly the coloration I want. And so I looked for a war paint scully for probably 8 months until I found one that was the exact same like coloration I wanted. So yeah. I don't know if that's a female thing or if that's just me.
Yeah, we're just like, ooh, pretty things.
Yeah. So my first few years of the hobby, it's more fill the tanks and whatever's pretty. Now that space is more of a premium because it's running low, and I'm much more picky now, at least my water box. Like this tank, I still got lots of filling to do, so I'll probably be less picky. But yeah, as you run out of space, you get pickier and pickier, and you swap out stuff that you don't care for as much for the stuff that you like more prized, or the stuff you like more.
That's a good question, Dan. I don't know. I think Reef, what's her name? Queen of Reef, Stephanie? I know she has a really big tank, but I know some local reefers.
Reef Girl, what does she have? 500 plus 600 gallons of water in Canada. And one
of my local friends who's not on any of the social medias has like a 600-gallon tank and a 400-gallon tank and a 200-gallon tank, and they're all full slammed with coral and fish.
Yeah.
It's Reef Girl's husband, she's the one I know personally. Her husband is not in the hobby. Of course, he will help, but he is not in the hobby at all. And she has a big tank.
Yeah. What's the biggest tank either of you guys would do? Like, assuming you're in a house, have the space, what would you go as big as you possibly could, or would you be like within a reasonable limit?
250. I've always said that's the maximum I'll go. I have a 180 sitting in my friend's for when I eventually move, but 250. I've always said if I have 250,
be done?
I feel like no, if I need more, I would set up more tanks. So when I get bored or can't handle it anymore, I would take those tanks down instead of getting a bigger. I don't want to go too big and then can't handle it, but I think 250 is what I've always said. 250 is the maximum. Now, I've seen Greg's tank in person. I really like it. I think it's huge. So if you make that an SP, if I'm growing that and it's a mixed tank and I wanted to do something, maybe I'd take out the LPS and set up a separate tank for the LPS and make that SPS dominant. And then maybe, because I think as you advance in the hobby, I don't know. I think I would want to do weird stuff like maybe an NPS tank or
That'd
a
be cool.
cold water tank, as I see a lot of people doing cold water tanks. So I think that's what I would do. But
Yeah.
to go bigger, nah.
That's fair.
I would love a 400-gallon SPS tank.
Yeah.
My like library room, I don't really know what it is at that right now. It's just full of bookshelves. I
future
want to
coral
tile
wall.
and put a drain in and put like a 10-foot tank in there. Yeah, wouldn't that be incredible?
That'd be
And
awesome.
like it's through an archway right as you walk in, and
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
You would
You should
spawn
do it.
corals in there probably, right?
You should do it.
But like whenever I'm at places like Worldwide Coral, like I would love to have a facility like that, right? Like I would love to just like not even like Fan. I'm so incredibly jealous of Fan that he lives on site, right? Of
Yeah.
all these things. Like I think my ideal would be like that, right? Like I don't actually have any in my house, but I have an entire warehouse full, and I'd be like I want all the tanks, I want all the corals, and I want it
You
to
wouldn't
be
sell
like,
anything.
I wouldn't sell anything. I want it to be a showroom that people come in to learn about it, right? You're right. I probably wouldn't sell anything. I don't enjoy the like selling and fragging. I just would enjoy curating that, and like
I really appreciate when a tank is actually like aged and grown out. I personally feel like too many people overfrag tanks these days, and it's harder for it to get that mature look. So seeing like a nice mature tank with like massive corals growing, I think looks so good, and I don't see it as much anymore, except for like super old school reefers. So
I, for some reason, man, I try to do some high-end SPS and some Montes, and they're not going well in this tank. But I have some corals that are growing and are getting huge, and now I'm swapping. Now I'm curating a little bit. Hence, I want the rock. There's just a rock work that's not working. Hopefully, I can, takes. I don't know. I know what you mean. I said my next tank, I would do like a tank full of classics first. For the first couple of years, do like classics. I got a good deal on a bunch of Radion Pros, because a lot of those, like the stuff that's named after Greg and a lot of the old school corals, you need like more daylight to make them look good, to bring them out. So I don't know if I'm gonna go that route, Dev, but I do have some Radion Pros that I'm sitting. I don't know, but I that was just an idea. That's why I always said I would not go with a crazy big tank, because I just have all these ideas. That's why my tanks never age, by the way, because then I get these crazy ideas and I'm like, let me just change it. Ooh, pretty thing. But that would be cool. With everything now being fluorescent, like, what would be better than having a aged tank with like Milka Stylo and Lime in the Sky and a lot of these really old strains, and having it look good? I'd be like, hey, you don't need a filter to enjoy this.
Radion Pros, buddy, around like, if you use my schedule from like noon to 4, it's very white, but it also has that vibrant pop to it. Just trust me. Just do that, but more throughout the day.
Share your schedule.
I did a video on it. It's on my website. Anyways, yes, I'll share it with you later.
He's like, why are you not watching my videos?
Just
I am
Google
watching your videos, but Dev
ReefDudes,
has a new video
Radion,
every week.
Mobius
And I
He
schedule.
has like
rewatch
3
them.
new videos a week.
Yes, Dev, but I
Just one
rewatched them,
on a live
Dev.
stream.
So if I keep rewatching, I'm gonna shut up now.
I appreciate you. Thank you. But I'll send it to you later. But yeah, no, in the daytime, because morning, night is more AB plusish, but in the daytime I have it more white, but it's very crisp and still gives you a nice color pop and rendition. So I personally feel like it's a really cool look, and I appreciate the whiter, bright, vibrant spectrum as well. So
Now I have a question. I see Tidal Gardens here. Like Than, do you wear a suit when you're working in the tanks?
that always looks like a freaking 100%. That's like ready for.
I don't know. Like, what do you do with the suit and the dress shirt then when you're fragging? Do you sit there by the saw in like a suit and
He
church
hired
shoes?
Takes a jacket off, rolls it. Yeah, probably. He points, be like,
Than
Frank, please.
cuts. I want to know what Than does when he's cutting. Does he put on an apron over the suit, and like I'm curious. Like this thing is intriguing me, fan. Like it's busting my brain.
Yeah. I don't actually work. There you go.
He doesn't. Yeah, I told you to hire someone.
I get to see him take the jacket off, roll up the sleeves.
Did you not see his pajamas?
They probably look like a tux. I feel like I have, and I feel like they look like a tux already, like the pattern or a tie on it. Something like that.
They're collared.
Yeah.
You know, it's like what I think most people would wear, like on a normal afternoon when it's not hot but not cold. Like it was a collar, like half zip, little.
Oh, is that when he was showing us the video of the toaster at the first thing?
Yeah, you're like, you're not dressed up nicely.
Before
I was like,
we
is that
even
your
noticed
pajamas?
the toaster. He was like, here's my he was like, oh, it's on Instagram. And we pulled up the video. The first thing Brandy noticed, like, oh my gosh, you're not wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Well, no, I asked him, I was like, is that your pajamas? And he's like, yep.
A little froggy just dropped like 2 feet through my tank and leaped down. I keep seeing these random like flashes out the corner. Sorry.
Of course he doesn't feel like it's working, because if you had that facility on site,
Yeah.
it wouldn't feel like it's work. It wouldn't feel like it's work to me.
Yeah, even if I didn't live on site, I wouldn't feel like that was work. Yeah.
Now-
it's incredible. I'm incredibly jealous of him.
Here's a random question. If you had a coral farm, you know, out in your field on your property, would you still have a reef tank in your house? Or would you be like, okay, I can just walk to the shed. We don't need this anymore.
It'd be my reef. I'd have a reef house and a sleeping house.
Okay.
So Carlos, I consider Carlos from Worldwide Corals a friend, and here's why I think he's nuts. He works in a fish store and then has like 4 tanks at home still. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you're not. And then he shows me like photos of him. Imagine if you're working 8 hours a day in a fish store doing coral things, and then you go home. Like that's dedication to the hobby, man. Because after that, you go home and you're doing a water change and you're curating your tank.
Yeah. I always laugh at that because I know like usually, you know, like the plumber has like the crappy plumbing at home they don't fix. Electrician, like my buddy Dylan, when I always film his tank, I always give him heck because he's an electrician, but it's just a rat nest of wires. I'm just like, and he
My
just
dad's
like,
an electrician,
yeah.
and my husband looks at the stuff he does, and he's like, that is such a fire hazard. And my dad's like, probably.
Yep, exactly. So Than was saying one of the biggest stores in the area is called Aquatica. Owner has 3,000 gallons worth of tanks in his house. Wow. In your house? Dang. That's pretty solid. I have 0 tanks and 2 cats. Yep. You got the furry purring in the house, and you walk outside and you got the farm. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. He has the farm and he has the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I thought
basically part of his house, right? Like,
It is. He's like, here's the sleeping shack, and here's the happy place.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I would describe it. Like, this is where I spend my life,
Yeah.
reef tanks, and then whenever I need to go sleep, I go over there.
Yeah.
I'd probably still wind up falling asleep on the couch in the tank house.
So,
So
yes. On the
oh no, go ahead. It's
okay,
your
I was
show.
gonna say it doesn't matter. Team effort. So on the wrap side, was there any other really cool stuff from the weekend that stands out in your mind?
It was when I Paul from Neptune Systems.
Yep.
So when I went there, he was helping set up the Ecotech booth. I was like, ooh, that's there's something off with that photo. And then Jay Sparadito was helping set up the Neptune System booth. I'm like, oh,
We're all friends now.
universes. So, but it was, it was cool. So
That's
by
awesome.
the end of the show, I ended up getting a
Nice.
Sky.
Nice.
Oh, you did a much better job of getting products than I did. You're like, let me show you what else I got.
So what else I got
was
for a
walking
deal?
around with
Yeah.
the Sky, and I saw like Tim Marks and
Yeah.
Jay, and I was like, ooh, I don't have to feel weird about this anymore, like I'm cheating or a marriage. And I was walking past Jay, and he's like, the Radiance is still better. So, but
Yeah.
but I didn't. Yes, it's
He's
true.
not
You know
wrong.
that. It's
He's
true.
not wrong. This
Yeah,
guy.
but it felt comfortable now
Yeah.
going. I was like, hey man, I really want to try. And he's like, yeah, try it and let me know what you think. Like, I'm anxious to let you know what you think. So that it would have felt weird before, but to have those guys, the Booths were back-to-back guys.
Yeah.
Who, you know, you still had Neptune Systems folks and you still had
That's
Ecotech
cool.
folks, but that was actually pretty cool where it wasn't weird. I don't know. Should I talk about the leap stuff? Because man,
Okay, wait. Give me like 10 seconds, and then we'll go to leap. One
There's
that
something I wanted to talk about.
okay, just because I want to throw it out there, like super sneak peek, because a buddy bought a Sky and he gave it to me for a week to play with and film a video on it. So I have actually checked one out finally. So I had one for a week to play with it, and I haven't filmed a video. Well, I filmed a video. I haven't edited it yet, so it'll be a future video. But I played it for a week. I do agree. I still prefer the Radeon, but I actually like the Sky a lot more than I thought I would. So it was actually, for what it was still like a very solid for spread and aesthetically pleasing. Like, there'll be a video later. But yeah, no, so it was actually liked it a lot more than I expected I would. So anyways, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, the reason I've been trying different lights over, my kids have a 25 Lagoon in their bedroom, and I've been trying different lights on the tank because I have corals to the edge and I want to get light to the edge. If I put a Radeon Gen 5 on it, the spread it doesn't matter if it's an XR15, I have to put the light like 4 inches from the water for it to not cover the entire, because the Radeons just have so much spread. You don't realize how much spread it has. So for it to not spill over on their bed and be all of the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I would get the Sky where
Makes sense.
It's a wider area, but
Yep.
I don't think it has as much. Because it doesn't have a lens and it has a diffuser, I don't think because it doesn't have optics, I don't think there's as much spread, but because it's wider, it should cover the entire tank without a bunch of light spillage. So
Yep.
that's why I was interested in trying it.
Yeah, well, it's the lens design too, right? Where that one's more directed down. It's a bigger panel, but it's directed downwards. Where if you look at a G5, it's more of like that. It does more of like a 180 with the light, so it spreads it out more. So, but yeah, they would have less. Yeah, I could see that. The Sky would have less spill because it's physically bigger. The Radeon gives you more spread in a smaller package. So it's a trade-off, but yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'll say something that's been around for a little bit, but I don't ever hear people talk about, and I was playing with them like this weekend, is the GNC light from Elos.
I have not seen this.
And it's like, they have 4 different sizes. There's one that's really small, and Nicole, who was doing she was interviewing people and doing the live streams for Reefapalooza Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
She's a diver. She actually bought one of the small ones for a small tank she has. I think it's an 8-gallon. And then they have a slightly bigger one, and it has 110 LEDs in it. And the bigger one which is about the same size. It's a little bit bigger than a Radeon, and it's just like this blanket of
It's a whole slew
LEDs.
ton of them.
Has 330 LEDs, and then they have this like giant one. It's like puts the Sky to shame on size, and it's 660 LEDs. And Francois was saying that I think it was the big one that he was saying that he gets 400 par at the bottom of his 24-gallon or 24-inch tank.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So, and he has clams up at the top, and it has like at the top he has like 900 par for the clams, and it's just that's something that I want. I wish that he would set up a tank at one of the shows with that light over it, because I think it'd be really cool to see it.
That is a beastly panel of LEDs.
Instead of just the small tank. He has a small tank, but I want a big tank.
And anything Elos, it's going to be elegant.
Yeah.
That's
And
the thing, it's going to look good.
Just throwing this out there, but there's no fans on it because the whole top is one giant heatsink, which is kind of cool.
And it was running all
quiet.
day, and I had my hand on it, and it was warm,
Mm-hmm.
like warm, like a pleasant warm, not like
Warm and
you
fuzzy
didn't
warm.
think anything about it. It's really cool.
Nice. That looks pretty good.
Was it Fan who was saying the coral care or something to that effect intrigued him because he can run it? It has no moving parts or anything. So in the greenhouse environment, it would do well and last long.
Yeah.
I think it was Fan saying that.
It's waterproof-ish, right? So you don't really have to worry about any cleaning stuff or doing stuff because it's all sealed. The top's a one big chunk of aluminum. The one hard part is it's just a bugger to mount it for most people because it's not light. Like, it's a heavy fixture.
Well,
So,
he's got a bracket for it that goes to like 6 or 7 feet too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like yours.
Yeah.
But it's clear.
Yeah, sorry. No, I was talking about the coral care.
Coral
sorry.
care.
Yeah. The Elos one looks much lighter. Actually, looks pretty nice. First time I've seen that one.
Yeah, I
See,
just
and
saw
it's
it.
been at the shows, so it blows. I did a little thing with it.
Nice.
For Reefs.com, we talked about it on Reefs.com. So when that comes out,
Yeah.
but I think the reason why nobody's noticed it is because it's sitting over like a tiny tank, and I think he needs to just do a big giant setup.
No, the
I
reason
think
people
everybody
didn't
would be
notice
like,
it
"It's a new light," because
the
huh?
reason people didn't notice it is because you didn't do a video about it yet. So now that you did,
Yeah.
you're gonna notice it.
The only thing I didn't like about it was there was only 2 channels, so you could say bluer or whiter. Like, that was my one thing. I felt like I didn't have enough control over it. That was my one
At
complaint
the
with it.
coral care?
Yeah. I like my color channels. You know, some people like simple and, you know, Kesselish where you say blue or whiter, but I like to tweak things more, so I felt restricted. But, like, it had a decent spectrum. But, yeah, those are my considerations. Okay, sorry, go ahead. Leap, what are you going to say?
No, so my friend, my best friend,
Mm-hmm.
my fish friends met my regular friends.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was interested in reptiles, so we spent quite some time at the Leap booth.
Mm-hmm.
He was interested in getting a reptile, and I don't know. Do you have one of those Leap cases, Dev? I think you do.
I haven't set
And
it
I
up
think Jay
yet,
was
but I
telling
have
me.
one. Yeah. It's still on my to-do list, which I'll probably do in the near future.
That thing is so light. It's almost like, because I thought it. So when the girl was like, "Here, hold it," when I think Jay said, "Here, hold it," I was
You're like, that's a tank? What?
like, I thought it, yeah, but no, it's this really light thing that's gonna make it easy to take wherever we need to do, clean it.
Mhm.
Jay was showing me how it has, because it's glass, because it's corrugated cardboard lined. You can
Yeah.
drill, like, it's so flexible. Like, I'm really I can't wait for maybe one to get on experts, because now I'm intrigued. I really am intrigued
You should join me, get some dart frogs.
with Leap. Yeah, but when when they said the thought process that went into it, but I love how it's light.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I really like how it's light. I that's the one, and it comes flat. It doesn't take up. I think you can get it locally because it comes flat pack, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Flat pack, so you don't have to worry about breaking shipping. It's way cheaper to ship than a giant glass box, right? So they did definitely put a lot of thought into it. You should get it and then join me and get some dart frogs. But yeah, they're pretty cool. Mr. J Travels, Reefing is my therapy. Salute. Thank you very much.
Tyler
Thank
Guards, the
you.
Elos guy was nice. I sat with him at
Yeah.
dinner.
Francisco. Yeah,
My
he's a
kid's
super
picking
nice
on
guy.
me. Sorry.
Yep.
Was that dinner
Um,
where we had an open bar? Thank you, Chris from LAX Aquariums.
Yeah, I have to say I had never met him before, and Chris from LAX Aquariums, Chris Bunya, is that his name? He came in with like this bright green Lamborghini and bright blue Lamborghini, and then
Mhm.
at the dinner for the vendors, which was like, I don't know, like 150 people.
hmm
It was free dinner, like you chose what you wanted, and if you wanted any drinks, you had to pay for it. Well, he went up to the bar and he's like, "I'll cover the entire bar tab." Well, I don't know if you guys know this about reefers, but we can drink a lot, so that was huge to say that he'd cover the bar tab. I thought that was just incredibly kind of him.
hmm
And then, not like, it's like a little flashy. But then Sunday we were talking, and I had told him that my son is obsessed with green Lamborghinis. So he FaceTimed my son for me, and I got in the Lamborghini, and he's like, "Rev it up," and like my son was just like, "Oh my God, it's so cool!"
That's awesome.
And on the way out to do that, he like randomly stopped. There was like this group of people who were carrying the tanks out to their truck to load, which was like across the parking lot.
Yeah.
And we were talking, He's like, wait a second. And he runs over to them and he breaks apart the door. And they're like, you just broke it. Like the door so that they could fit through the doors. Because they were like this much bigger. Y'all can't see. They were like this much bigger than the doors. And he put them back on the track afterwards. And then like helped him carry the stuff out. And they had no idea who he was. And I was like, it was just like a different side other than like the flashy kindness, right? And I was just like, I don't know. That really impressed me about him.
That's
I
cool.
It was really cool.
That's awesome.
The only interaction I knew about Chris before was sometimes he's doing those live sales, like he is someone doing an auction, like what, and he would randomly hop into Greg's live streams and like talk like an auctioneer for a few minutes and then leave for a few seconds at least and then jump out. But yeah, we grew up in the when you saw the flashy Lamborghinis, yeah, I was expecting different, but he's a really cool guy.
So cool. I'm like, I was like, we could just be best friends. Like he's really awesome.
Yep. So now LAX Aquariums, if I'm ever out on the West Coast, it is.
Gonna go check it out. Solid.
Yeah, we didn't miss him.
Oh, I missed him. I cried every night. I hung out with Jay, the whole Eco-Tech team.
Jay's in the chat too.
On Monday, which was really cool to do that. I felt kind of like
nice,
really special.
That's awesome. You cheater.
I know. I feel like I'm cheating. I'm cheating.
That's
Don't
funny.
worry, Jay. It's only one. It's not gonna. Ooh, I gotta scoot over and hide the trident right here.
Hey.
But then
I
you
have
can't
one
hide
too, though. It's fine.
There you go. I don't hide the
Okay.
vortex things.
This seems so ridiculous and overkill, and I don't know how I fit it. But on my water box, I now have the Mastertronic, the Alcatronic, and a Trident, which feels so ridiculously overkill, and I don't know how the heck I even fit it. It baffles my mind how I keep finding more ways to fit gear. But
But then now I gotta hide the Hydros feeder. So now you can see the Ecotech. You can't see the thing, but okay, I'll just do the show like this.
Gold Slinger, holy smokes, man!
Thank you, Mr. Schlinger.
You are always far too kind. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Are we allowed to know your actual name to say thank you? Like Simply Reefing, I know is Dre.
We did.
No, we'll just say thank you, Slinger, and we'll just make it weird.
Hey, I did learn that he actually has a jewelry store, so it makes perfect sense now. Gypson's Diamond Jewelry. So if you ever need jewelry, you know the man to talk to.
Dev, the last time you came to New York, it was fun.
It was fun.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. This year's a write-off. Next year I'll start going to shows again. I've given up hope of any shows on this year.
No.
Next year's on.
There were Canadians there.
I know.
At the show.
Yeah, but he can't. I was missing this.
I
have got other plans.
Yeah, I know.
What does that got to do with anything? Up until a week ago, I had other plans.
Cancel all the things.
No, not cancel. Work around. Like up until last week, I had other plans.
Yeah, tiny frag plans. That's okay. Next year I'll be back on the show train, which will be good. I miss them. It's fun. Not gonna lie, I'm jealous.
I will be at New York. I will be at California. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it for Texas.
Oh, that's pretty solid.
We'll have to see.
I'm going back to Cali.
Ah, good times.
Greg really impressed you. He was singing that, didn't he?
All right. When is Rap Cali? On that note,
it's in.
There was one other thing I wanted to mention that I really thought was awesome is, and I know Greg always talks about this, and someone mentioned it earlier, but the raffles are really amazing. I'm lucky that they let me help with that, so I get to see who's getting them and how excited they are. And it just always boggles my mind how many people like get their entire tank set up or a majority of it. Like the same person will get called up for lights and then a control system and like a dosing kit, and they're always like, oh man, I'm embarrassed. And I'm like, no, don't be like,
embrace it.
Happens.
Heck yes.
And it's incredible. I love it. And it's makes me so happy to see people be able to like fund their first setup. Or sometimes I get set up. Most of the time it's their first setup, and away like that.
Did you
So
enter the
in
raffles?
Chicago, my strategy was look for the buckets that no one was bidding on and like win. So I ended up winning some stuff in Chicago. That strategy did not work this year.
Do you just
I
pick
did
up
not win
the
anything.
buckets and whatever is the lightest? You're like 20
Yeah, I
bucks
just
tickets
went and
in
just
you.
looked. I was like, hey, nobody's bidding. No one's doing
That's why we
just
put the
whatever
lids
it
on
was.
it though, so it's supposed to be harder to see that.
No, but it was the same thing in Chicago. I just whatever was this least likely. I was like, hey, I'm going to use this. Didn't work this time. Didn't win anything. So last year, when I won a bunch of stuff and had to take an extra suitcase home, this year nothing. Nothing.
That's awesome. What?
Yeah, I just have to say how grateful I am for everybody who puts stuff in the raffle. Like some of those coral vendors were giving away like $500 gift certificates.
Yeah,
And
two.
Yeah.
They gave away two on 2 days. Remember, everything is 2 days. So LAX Aquariums gave away two.
they gave away 4,
Solid.
2 each day.
Ooh.
And it wasn't just them though. There was like a lot of the coral vendors will give away like between 200 and multiple $200s and $500 gift certificates, which is just that goes a long way when you're first getting started. It goes a long way anyway, but it really goes a long way when you're first getting started.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I have to say, I would never throw you in a bonfire, Than.
What about a toaster?
I might use his toaster. I don't think he'd fit in his toaster.
Love it. So, yeah, I miss shows, man. They're so much fun. If you guys haven't been to a show, like it's the atmosphere and just like the camaraderie and the geeking out with other Reef people. It's just it's another level, right? I don't.
Yep, and it's gotten better the last couple of years off that. Like I think maybe it's because I'm knowing people more now, but
It's because I'm there.
yes, that is the reason. So I always thought like I was told no that's true. I always thought hey, Macna is where you go to socialize, but there's absolutely like time to socialize. You talk to people. That's why I never shoot video. That's why this year I didn't even bring my big camera. I'm like, I'm not shooting videos. I just took clips with my iPhone and just uploaded them. Like I'm not even gonna tell myself otherwise. So it just
Yeah, poor Deb was asking us for pictures, and he's like,
Slackers,
No.
you're like, I got barely anything.
horizontal.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh, everything I took was vertical.
It's
I'll
kind of
make
nice
sure
to
I
just
determine.
enjoy it too, right? And not be quote unquote working and content creating the whole time. But
that is Marge from Fragbox and
Jay's
Jay's tall.
yeah. He's catching up. He
You're
actually
tall, oh.
yeah, you're super
Oh,
tall.
yeah.
How many people go, oh, you're taller in real life than you are on
Yeah.
the live streams? And I've told people that. I was like, he's like 7 feet tall. Like,
I am tall
are
and I
so
feel
tall.
short beside you. So
how
yeah,
tall are you, Dev?
6'1".
Oh, Dev is tall.
I'm 6'1", but I feel short beside you. Like I don't feel tall when I'm with you, but I feel tall with most people.
How tall are you, oh? Like 6'8"?
I never see. I never think about it. I'm just like, if someone's taller than me, I'm like, oh, that guy's tall. But I don't think about height because I'm always been tall.
But what
I don't
is your
think-
height?
I don't know, 6'5"
Something.
and a half.
Oh, no, you're taller than 6'5".
You're at least 6'6".
I just
Okay.
say 7 feet, and everybody's like, yeah, 7 feet.
My neck's cranked. He must be right. It's good though. It's good to be tall. I like it. When I went
OJ
to
in the house. The juice is loose. Hey, there are. I don't know. Greg can tell the story. Greg can tell the story about the two Omars and OJ, O-Juice, something. I don't know. Dan is 6 foot?
I would have guessed
Yes.
5'8", 5'9" for that. I would not have guessed
He's
6.
tall.
Huh.
Yeah, he's tall.
Do you
He's
kn-
not as tall as O. Like, O towers over Than. But he's tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Dan almost looks like he's gliding. Like he's just moved. Everything is just like a.
That's
like a
because
swag.
that is
It's like swag.
he's
It's
smooth.
You could
in all
almost hear
aspects of
like
life.
the music when he's like swag.
Oh, this is something that's huge.
Wow.
I've been saying for a few years now that I'm Greg Carroll's self-proclaimed protege. And for the first time this weekend, he said it.
Well, he did?
He said, Brandy is my protege. So I finally said it enough times that that Greg actually believes it. So that was really big for me.
So when are you gonna call a raffle and make it official?
I've still got so much to learn from him. I'm definitely still the protege, not the I don't know what the next level beyond protege is. I'm the backup.
I'm the backup speaker, by the way. So whenever Greg's mic popped out, I just screamed out the numbers in the back. It's like,
this is a solid team effort.
Yeah, Spollet Pusher says Thad moonwalks everywhere. I think so.
Yeah. Oh wow, y'all still alive. We are. It's a random good one today.
Just a lot of exciting stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's fun.
Meeting new people, like that is legitimately my favorite part, is meeting people. And like, sometimes I feel bad because someone comes up to me and I'm like, in my head, my wheels are spinning trying to remember who they are, because everybody's head is their logo, right?
Yeah.
So it's like someone completely changing their face whenever I meet them in person, and so then I feel like it's awkward for the first couple of seconds while I'm like trying to place who the person is, and then they're like, I feel like sometimes the people are like, I thought she wanted me to come up and talk to her.
Yeah.
And
well,
then,
it's not that.
No, but the difference is
crazy because you're feeling the person out, and then once you connect it, but sometimes it takes a while, and then you're like, we're talking, and Brandy says, oh, that's him, and he has a 25 Lagoon with the light over it. I'm like, oh, I know who that is. So, we'll identify people by either, and there's been a few times I have to turn to somebody and like Instagram name, and they're like, oh, like who is Omar 6167 or Crazy Reefer? Hey, I'm John. You're like, John, and it's a regular business handshake, like, hello, John, how are you? And then he's like, I'm John O'Reefer 713. And I'm like, oh, the one with the Red Sea tank, and you got the big colony on the right side. And you're like hugging now. And you're like best friends. You go from like a standoffish, like, I don't really know you, let me only shake your fingertips, to like giving somebody a beer hug.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing, right? Because there's so many people, like, you talk to them all the time, you interact and chat, but you know their username, right? So, but you don't really have the face to the name, like where they recognize you because they see us, right? But we don't see them because it's just the username. So it is so funny. Like, there's people but without knowing them in a weird way, right?
Well, that's like lead-footed, right?
Yeah.
Like, he even told me his name, and I'm like,
that sounds familiar.
And then he pulled out a sticker, and I was like, oh! I feel like every time I say "oh," I'm screaming your name, "oh." But
you're like, yep.
Yeah, it was like, it took the sticker.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there was the guy who Greg called OJ. There was a weird thing where like someone is called Juicy Reef or Juice E Reef or something, and his name is Omar. And then there's another guy who's like Juice 347, and his name is Omar. So sometimes there can be some confusion when you're like, oh, they have very similar usernames, and then their names are similar. But it's cool.
Yeah. No, so true.
It's your fingerprint. Your tank is your fingerprint.
It is, actually, in a way, because usually, like, obviously without seeing someone's face, but you probably recognize your tank. You're like, oh, I've seen that tank before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like, that lead-footed, his sticker is a crazy fungia that's in his tank, right? It's like this green with like hot pink tentacles, and so like the second he showed me a sticker, I could picture his entire tank and all the conversations we've had, right?
Yeah.
So it's fun and interesting, and every time I go, I am able to place more and more faces, so I feel like I am making more and more friends every time.
Yeah.
Reef Keeper says, I remember the look O gave me because I think he was introduced like he's a reef keeper, and I'm like, we're all reef keepers, and he's like, no,
that's everybody you see,
and I'm like, oh no, but then he said something, and I heard the voice. I'm like, oh.
I feel like I'd be the same way with him. Yeah. Like I have no face that comes to my head right now, and I think I've had people be like Reef Keeper before, and they go, KPR, and I'm like,
oh, Phil. Yeah.
When I got to the show and I was registering, I thought I heard Brandy's name.
You heard my voice.
Yeah.
I heard your voice, and I turn around and I see like a really old lady. I'm like, oh, she must be from Brandy's town in South Georgia or somewhere. And then all of a sudden, Brandy
out was
walks up
behind
beside me. I was like, oh.
The
She
one
is
and
the-
only, buddy. The one and only.
Yeah, no, I turned around and there was like a lady. I'm like, oh, what? I was like, she got the same accent as Brandy. That's weird. And then all
No,
of a
I
sudden,
was just behind the desk talking.
They must be neighbors. It is you.
yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, now other random question. Do you guys bring family, significant others to shows?
I did my first 2 shows. I did
Yeah.
to Orlando and New York. My son went to Universal Studios.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if I was going to know anybody in Orlando the first time I went, which was last year. And so I really wanted my husband to be there with me, but I very quickly was like, these are my best friends. See ya, husband. But
I think I did.
come
I
with
think
me
I
to New
did.
York.
Yeah, that's all
I
right.
think I did that with my. By the way, Matt's cooler, so you should always bring him. I think I did that with my family, but I think they just let me do my. Like last year, Reefapalooza in New York, I printed up T-shirts for the whole family, reefing with and then they didn't want to come. Like nobody wants to. Like I think it's just me now. I
Yeah.
think I'm just gonna let everybody. My kids like the tank, but I think I'm going to let everybody just. I'm not going to force them to come. Like
Mhm.
whenever they say, "Hey, Dad, we want to come," yeah, I'll let them come.
Yeah.
Like for instance, my best friend, he's always said like, he just came to hang, to spend some time because I was in Florida. But I learned that he was into reptiles, or he was thinking about getting a reptile. So like the Leap conversation was really interesting to him.
Yeah.
So
Did Leap do a booth at the show?
a sub booth of Ecotech.
Okay.
Like they had a section
Yeah.
in Ecotech.
I was actually surprised because I did a little office tour video on Monday, and I showed off, the new vivarium plus the reef tank and the desk and all that jazz. I was surprised how many people were actually digging the vivarium that are also reefers. So I'm curious how much of like an overlap there is. Like I might do the odd vivarium style video on my channel as well. Not all the time, but once in a while just for fun. Because there was surprisingly a lot of people that were into it as well, which I thought was pretty cool.
I think I saw 3. There was another vivarium, or I don't know what's called a vivarium. I need to learn the terminology. But there was another habitat. I think it was at the Dr. Tim's booth, and there was another one. So there were a couple other habitats there. So there might be some overlap. I think you might be. I'm thinking reefers have other pets
I think
other
so.
than.
I used to have rain tree frogs, and I've had
Yeah.
geckos, and I've had in my classroom I used to keep baby alligators.
Oh, that's cool. How big was Baby?
They would get to a certain size, and the alligator farm would come and trade them out for a small one. So it was like something that we did to like just have the kids have the experience with it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've
When
had a bunch of different animals.
I think I want to do not a refugium, but an additional tank with mangroves.
be cool. You should.
Oh,
Yeah.
Julian Strunk's mangroves are always absolutely.
They are huge, aren't they?
Mhm.
So I don't. Every time I try to keep it in a reef, it doesn't do well. But I would put it in a. Like, of course, it'd be connected into the same system, but do it and then put like really small, like maybe those glass cardinal fish to swim around and live in the roots.
That'd be cool.
Something to that effect, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I want to do like this is totally copying Julian 100%, but I think it's so cool. Clams with mangroves, with the long spine urchin, which I actually
Yeah.
ordered one today,
Nice.
Oh,
and filled with Bengai cardinals. I just think that'd be so cool.
I bought a long spine urchin and I came back. I don't know if it's because I haven't seen him for a week, but he looks huge.
Yeah, nice.
How big is your tank?
Only 4 feet, 75 gallons of Red Sea 350. Then I have a 25 lagoon connected to it with way too much gear.
That's about right.
The right amount.
Yeah, right about. Just right. You should do a big mangrove tank. Aren't you moving to a house soon? If that happens, you should do a big mangrove tank.
I already have a Planet Aquariums 180 waiting for me somewhere with a big steel stand. My friend is storing it for me, so that's what I'm going to go to. And I have the lights, I have the pumps. Trying to work out a deal for. I have the calcium reactor. Trying to work out a deal for like a Royal exclusive skimmer. I have the pump. I have everything I need. I have all the equipment for that tank already. Most of the equipment for that tank already.
Ah, so it's happening. You're planning. Ah, that'll be awesome. All right, someone needs to do a mangrove tank at some point.
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah.
I think Julian said put them in fresh water; they will grow faster. And they were growing. I just changed it to salt water because I wanted to put little fishies and maybe some nems or something. And I think when I had them doing one in fresh water and then just doing completely salt, I think it shocked them and they just withered up and died.
Ah, you probably got to like transition them over time.
Jacob said he wants an outdoor tide pool just like Julian has.
That'd be cool.
I actually just bought a house in South Georgia, where it doesn't get below like 70 degrees ever, and that's exactly what I want to do is like clams and mangroves outside.
Where are you gonna get your
That'd be cool,
Randy?
Clam Mania from John, of course.
Nice. That'd be awesome. Wait.
Did you just
Did you say you're doing an outdoor one?
Self in your own
Y'all
accent.
are both talking at the same time, and both of your voices are cutting in and out.
Go first, though. Did you say you're doing an outdoor pond?
I'm really thinking that's what Julian Sprung has. Have you seen Julian's?
Yes, do it. That'd be wicked.
Yeah, and it's in South Georgia. It doesn't get below 70 degrees. Or occasionally it does, but not for long. So I might have to like have my dad go and pop a heater in if it ever gets too low. But that's a second house. But I think that'd be incredibly cool to do that.
Doing an outdoor like saltwater pond would be freaking cool. Like Julian's is sweet. If I lived somewhere warm enough, like it's only warm enough half the year here, but if it was warm enough all year, I'd totally do that. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and the summer gets to like 114 degrees, so it might be too warm in the summer, but it's really cool. That's definitely like one of my bucket list items.
That would be so
pop
cool.
Pop a chiller in there.
Does Julian have a chiller on his?
No.
But he's
further south.
But consideration, right? Like where it is on your property, like if it's in the ground, it's going to be cooler, right? But if you keep it so you get morning sun and not afternoon sun, say, you're probably fine. So it probably depends what side of your house you do it on. But that'd be sweet.
If I did that, I would definitely like have Julian guide me through the entire thing.
Yeah.
Or you could have a shade and then have your GHL tell when it's too hot.
Pull a sunshade over. Little reef tank awning.
You could wire something up. GHL has relays where you can
do that.
No,
I like
I'm serious. Like you could.
That'd be sweet. Do it.
That's really smart.
I think it was Jellyfish Tanks. Who makes them? Jellyfish Art and Chemi Pier. One of their magazines they gave out one of the shows a couple years ago. There was an entrance. This is like some fancy schmancy house, but it had this like big circle saltwater pond. But by the staircase when you walked in, it was like the coolest thing ever. Like walking in and having this big saltwater pond would be so crazy.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Doesn't O2 Many Fish have tanks outside and he doesn't even cover it? He's in Southern Cal and he has tanks outside and he doesn't even cover them when it rains. There's another guy.
Oh, I saw a video about that.
I think he's in Greg's Reef Club. And when I was out in California, he makes the frags where they're on look like glass pellets. His frag plugs are unique. I don't remember his name, but he has tanks outside too.
Huh, that's pretty cool.
Steve Garrett's Acropolis.
Yes, Devil Dog Reefing is Matt with a beautiful Euphilia on one side and the Micromuso on the other. Micromuso.
Yeah.
Devil Dog Reefing, that Georgia accent coming in strong. Yeah. Your accent was just strong for a minute. I thought you were like making fun of yourself, but it was
Probably because I was talking about home. If you would ever get me on the phone with my family, you'd be like, I cannot understand you.
Yeah, you were talking about the house and your dad coming over for the heater, and I thought you were making fun of yourself.
It just the accents to wherever you're talking about. Okay, I have a random question for you. Because I do that too. If I'm talking to somebody and they have an accent, like I'll start to talk with a slight accent like that. Like I just totally naturally do it, and I always get in trouble with my wife. She's like, oh, that's so rude. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like I don't know. Would you
It's
consider?
called there's a word for that, and I'm blanking on what it's called, but it actually makes people feel more comfortable when you're able to do that.
Exactly. So would you consider it rude, or would you say? Okay.
Now, if you're making fun of me, if you're like I don't like when people like tell my mama, like whatever. I'm like, or my husband, when Matt tries to copy my voice, it's like this high pitched screechy. I'm like, oh my god, I really hope I don't sound like this. Like, I'm like, no human sounds like that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So, how come you've never mimicked the Jamaican accent, Brandy?
What?
Hey man, welcome to the live stream.
Accent.
Yeah.
You've heard me try.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it because it's all cuss words.
Oh yeah, you have. Yes. I forgot. Yes. Don't.
Rated
yes.
R version.
I forgot. I want to hear Matt do like your accent now.
Me too, actually. But okay, so you think it's all good? Oh, what do you think? Do you care if people try and do accents? Are you offended? Or are you like, whatever, it's fine?
I'm fine as long as they don't try to do. People try to do like. Sometimes New Yorkers talk with the hands. So I think when people start doing the hands, that's when it gets too much. But
okay, I talk with my hands sometimes. Is that too much?
You're Canadian. You guys are all nice.
Okay.
It's different.
I don't even notice I do it. That's why I was really just curious of other people's perspective on this.
I was talking on the phone with Chris from LAX earlier.
Yeah.
And everything he said, my son was saying in the background in like the California accent. He thought it was hilarious. And I was like, shut up.
That's awesome.
What's the California accent?
Yeah, I don't know. What is it?
You'd have to listen to the way he talks, but my son thought the way he talked was the funniest thing ever. I didn't even like think about it, but my son just thought it was hilarious.
I don't know accents anymore because I talk to everyone. You know what? I don't know. I think when I encounter a new accent, that's when it's hilarious. But
honestly, though, like with like all my reefing friends, like online, I talk to people from all over the world. I don't even notice a difference anymore. Like, unless someone points it out, I don't even think about it. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah. There was a guy there. He was the guy from Red Sea was talking, and I'm like, "Where are you from?" So I know England. I've never been to England, but I love English football. Yeah. So I know England based on where the teams are. So he's like, I'm from the South. I'm like, South is a big place. Where he's like, oh, I'm somewhere Bristol. I was like, yeah, I know where that is. Bristol Rovers. He started to say, oh, you would probably never know. I was like, what team is there? He's like, you probably never know. It's some small teams. He's like, Bristol. I was like, yeah, Bristol Rovers and Bristol City. And I was like, oh, mate, you know. I was like, yeah. And then I started putting on my fake British accent. I'm like, yeah, mate, Liverpool fan, He's like, I'm a Liverpool fan too, mate.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I started talking to people all over the world from gaming. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I don't have a hard time understanding accents most of the time. Yeah. Unless they're wearing a mask. It was really hard for me to understand accents with masks on. But I noticed the accent, and most of the time I can place where they're from, but I don't have a hard time with them for the most part.
Yeah, that's good. There's, I also have exchange students too, right? It's from all over, so I don't know. I don't even notice the difference anymore. It's all the same. If it's reefing, it's all just reefing. It's more fun, which is good. Connecticut accent.
Yeah.
See,
there is a Connecticut accent, just like there's if you're Italian and accents are weird, man. Like if you're from Brooklyn and you're of a certain age, and if you're black from Brooklyn of a certain age, you talk different than someone who's younger. And if you're Italian of a certain age, you sound like someone. So accents are weird because not only is it culturally where you're from, it's also it's a lock in time. Like when I first moved here, everybody yelled, "Yo, shorty." And I'm like, I got taller than you. Who the heck you calling me shorty? What you talk about?
I want to see how tall the person is calling you shorty.
Yeah, man. And then shorty in a different place, shorty could be your girlfriend. Yo, that's my shorty, yo. It could be. So it's yeah. So it's just different where it is. And then they're in Queens. They have a different accent. I don't know, like if you're Queens or you're older, you could sound like Mobb Deep, where it's more sing song, and then if you're from Jamaica, you could sound like it's not Jamaica. It's just accents are just different where you are.
I will say I was working on a research project once at Myrtle Beach. There's people from like all over the country there. And one of the girls I started talking to, I realized I went to like my full accent. And that had never happened before. Like only whenever I'm talking to my family.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Where are you from?" And she grew up literally 10 minutes from where I grew up, and our accents were so similar that I went like straight, like deep Georgia accent. So it's if I talk to someone from like Valdosta or Macon or anywhere, like it doesn't do that. But she lived so close to me that so even like
You feed off each other and just brings it out.
accent is different.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I thought that was really cool.
Everybody
We're
has
way
an
off
accent
of
to.
Reefing right now.
Yeah, everybody has an accent to somebody else. Just throwing that out there. If you don't think you have an accent, you do to somebody else. So,
Yeah.
yep, worldwide.
True.
So reefing, yeah. Any other notable, fun, cool things you saw at the show that we haven't talked about?
I just saltwater aquariums had this. It wasn't a new product. I just thought it was really cool that they had this. It was like this touchscreen LED screen.
Yeah.
And so you could shop on their website or watch their videos or do whatever while talking to the people, like the owner and like the people who were like important in the company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could do any of the things. If you wanted to buy a tank, you could ask them all the questions while you were like looking at it, or watch a video or like a description, and like if there was something you wanted to clarify, like
The ultimate live
I
support.
thought that was really interesting.
Nice. Ultimate
Like
live
customer
support.
service from the like tip top.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Very cool. All right, what do you got? What else do you got that's notable, sticks in your mind, was awesome, that we haven't talked about?
We spoke about the people. We spoke about the equipment. Don't know. ORA which something was interesting. ORA was at the show, and I think they were selling fish out of the saltwater aquarium booth, which I don't know if that's going to be, if that was just a one-off show thing or it was a test pilot to do something, but that was something
They're going to start doing that.
that's
Donna
cool.
from ORA, I met her and her boss, I can't remember his name, Jeremy maybe? But Donna, absolutely hilarious, and she thought I was funny, which like just like automatically she became my favorite person. And I really like the people at ORA. I'd really like to get to know them better.
Huh, very cool. They are getting more and more capture bred stuff, which is awesome. And oddly, I'm starting to see it in Canada, which is sweet. So it's nice that you're getting so many more capture bred things. I think we are going that way more and more and more and more over time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. We are over 2 hours, which is a record for the recent history of streaming.
Anytime I'm on a show, I feel like we make records. I just talk.
That's good. It's more fun. I like it. So probably wrap it up here for today because it's been a while, but it was lots of fun. Definitely enjoyed her. Thank you guys all for the super chat. Brandy O, thank you guys for coming on today and letting me live vicariously through you because I'm super jealous that I didn't get to go to the show.
For a short time. Then you're going to eat.
Yep, exactly.
Hey, Dev, you got to help me with my camera thingy. I only remember when I'm supposed to come on your show, the Sony camera hack thingy.
Ah, yes.
Why don't you do it after the show's over?
Yeah, I'll help you after.
Because I've been sitting for 2 hours. And
Okay, bug me tomorrow and I'll help you, okay? Bug me
All
tomorrow.
right.
We'll get it figured out.
Thank you for having us, Dev.
Oh.
It's always fun.
Anytime. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Eventually, we'll get our act together and actually edit the episodes for the Seriously Salty Science podcast. So that is coming eventually.
I think this is good. I think we can just release this.
Yeah, we should just rip the audio and just throw it up. Just color it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we just have Brandy. Like, let's do an intro right now. Brandy, do an intro.
Oh God, I already forgot what it is. Welcome to the Seriously Salty Science podcast with Brandy be the fountain. That's your cue to say something.
Oh, with O, reefing with O.
And Devin from ReefDudes. Love it.
We've
Okay,
never gotten it right.
that's okay.
Y'all.
That might be part of the fun, though, right? So
It is part of the fun.
it is part of the fun. All right, so we will work on this
Don't
soon.
edit it. Just slice this piece, put it at the
Yeah.
front,
Done.
and then that's it.
Done.
We're good.
If we don't have to edit stuff, we could actually put them out super fast.
Yeah, I said don't edit this. This is timely, by the way. So I say start it. Let's go. Boom.
This is now episode 1. Oh, love it. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Once we actually edit, or very loosely edit, we will throw this up and link it. If you guys enjoyed this, as always, hit that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out these wonderful people on the stream, and we'll catch you guys on the next live.